So I think I'll be picking back up on an older project that's been loosely in the works for a while now. I have a collection of images that all seem to fit together that I would like to kind of flesh out and build upon. It kind of draws on themes of absence and isolation. And it's much more about my personal processing of these feelings as opposed to kind of having an overall message that I'm trying to get out, right? I'm not trying to make a statement, essentially, as opposed to translate my feelings visually. And for me, that's important. I have a lot of problems with being vulnerable and kind of sharing myself. So this is kind of an exercise in that. So this collection overall will help me kind of process my feelings that I have personally, as well as allow me to put myself out there to be seen, I guess, which is something I've always had a problem with creatively. And that never leads to anything good. You never get anything done, right? So a lot of this is about kind of just putting my work out and getting it done and moving forward, right? So I think this is the direction that we're going to go. I'll show some sample images that will be in this collection or kind of inspire this body of work here shortly. But also let's talk about gear a little bit. Not that it's super important, but what I have and what I will use on this project. I'll mostly be shooting digital, probably entirely digitally. Though I do have film cameras and shoot a little bit of film, and I have all the equipment to process my own film and make prints. I have what I use predominantly here is the Contax G1. Big fan of this camera. It's a beauty. Incredibly sharp. Autofocus. Yeah, the lenses on this are beautiful. It's a nice compact package. Titanium doesn't hurt. But yeah, really wonderful camera to use. I've got the 45 on there currently, but I also have the 28 and the 90 as well. Great lenses. Yeah, it's just nice to have kind of the full kit. On top of that, I have classic A1 with a 50 on there. Can't go wrong. Nothing special. Maybe I'll throw this in the car. I don't carry this one around too much anymore. But when I was getting into film, this was, kind of the go-to. But primarily, I'm shooting on the A7R5. Beautiful camera. Love this camera. Incredibly high res. I've got an L bracket on there, so I can slap it on the iPod. Landscape or vertical if need be. I've been shooting a lot with this 50 here. I got the 50 2.8. It's nice and compact. I don't need a super fast lens with a lot of the work that I do. So this 2.8 or 2.5, sorry, is more than enough for me. Getting into some landscape-ish type work. I do a lot of street at 85. So I have the 85 1.4 GM2 that I do like a lot, but now getting into kind of more atmospheric, wider scenes. I've been shooting with the 50 a lot. I picked that up not too long ago, and I've been really, really impressed with it. I also have this Zeiss 35 2.8. This is a very nice little compact lens. Looks great. Has a little bit of character to it, which is fun. But yeah, I don't really shoot 35 often. Every once in a while I'll bust it out, but I'm not big on anything wider than a 35 typically. So yeah, that's kind of the gear that I'll be using for this. I probably won't be shooting film for this. I might do some other side projects, but the idea is to really focus and narrow in on this one project and move forward and kind of create a narrative body of work based around this concept. So let's take a look at some of these inspiration images and kind of see what we're going for here. All right, so looking at some of these images, these are kind of the, I guess, the undercurrent of the project, the mood setters, kind of the anchor points that give kind of the overall vibe that we're going for, right? I like these dark shadows, a little desaturated, very sparse, minimal, kind of very bare for you to kind of settle into and wander around a bit. Yeah, so that's kind of the baseline. Then from there we go into kind of these portraits almost. They're environmental, some are close up, but kind of give a little bit more narrative direction to the project, kind of immerse you in some of those more vacant scenes. Yeah, so it's kind of a nice dive in and kind of breaks up the project a bit to give you a little bit more context as to what we're looking for and where we're going and how we're moving through these scenes, right? Because overall the idea is to give a bit of narrative as opposed to just a collection of pictures, right? And then here's some more kind of related to the kind of baseline images, but with a little bit more going on, kind of a little bit more context there, and really just kind of focused on the scene with a little more complexity. Not as much palette cleanser as those initial images. A little more going on, a little more to look at, but also kind of bring you in for those portrait shots. And so when I look at like two images together, for example, this and this, it really brings me into the narrative, and I get a better sense of kind of how they connect and sequence a bit, right? So that's the general vibe that we're going for. Yeah, something like that. So tonally I like this kind of ebb and flow, bit of a wave between kind of cool, neutral, and warm, to kind of give a bit of reprieve from a lot of these darker, bluer images. I think popping in some of these neutrals and some of these kind of brighter, warmer photos will give a little bit of rest almost from essentially the dreariness of a lot of these images, and the kind of a little bit of a lighter mood while still kind of carrying that same weight and in line with the same emotions. So what I think I'm missing also is some kind of textural or more close-up images. So that's something I'll have to think about, because they're all either pretty far away or medium. So I'd like to get some more closer, maybe abstract textural shots to kind of put in the mix that are very compositionally focused, but kind of leave a lot up to interpretation. So that's something I'll work on, and there's a ton of scenes that I'd like to capture still, so that'll probably be in a future video. We'll go along and we'll go capture some of these scenes. And yeah, so I think that's about it for now. Before we end up taking more images for this, we'll probably talk about pottery. I know I said that last video, but I want to keep this pretty well-rounded. Focused, but rounded. So kind of just really narrowing in on my two creative projects essentially, and driving those forward without getting too distracted by by switching up styles too much, right? So anyway, till next time.